Good night. Good night. Good night. Let me know if you're hearing me because I'm having some technical issues and my microphone seems like it's not working properly. So let me know if you're hearing me properly. Alright, so good night one and all. I want to say thank you for joining on tonight. I'm going to touch on two main points, two very important points as well, and I'm going to go through it very quickly and discuss the importance. Sorry for not being on. Wednesday and Monday. Wednesday we had an event, and that was an out of town event, so we couldn't be online on Wednesday based on the time frame getting back in. Was a little bit tired and exhausted based on the traveling out of town, right? But tonight we're here, so if you have any questions or concerns, just feel free to send those in, so we'll answer the question while we go along. And also so we answer the question and also go through the points that we're going to discuss tonight. All right. Let me know if you're hearing me. Let me know if you're hearing me. If I am clear or I'm not, please. All right. Alright, so the two, oh, thank you to our boss. Alright, thank you for that. Alright, so the 2 points that we're going to discuss tonight is drafting your guest list and also hiring your professional photographer, right? Drafting your guest list, it might sound a little bit easy, but you have to be careful when you're doing your guest list. As we mentioned the points earlier on, we discussed booking the venue, discuss our budget, budgeting, and other points that are important. So drafting your guest list is not just to choose any and everybody. What we normally recommend for you to do is to, based on the venue and based on the meal, based on your budget, you know what is it or how much is it that you have to spend, right? So good night. So what you would do is to put down the number of persons that you'd want to be at your event. So what you would do, put down your numbers of person. Hey Nike, what's up my darling? You'd put down the numbers of person that you'd want to have on your event day, whether it's a birthday party, whether it's a wedding. So you'd put down the list of names. So you'd put it names, and if you're going to do +1, you'll add that as well. So your guest list, what we normally said for you to do, for example, both of us discussed and we said that we want to have 50 people. Bear in mind that 50 people would have to include the bride and groom as well. So what you would have to do is to, what I normally recommend, so it's 50, so 25 on one side, 25 on the other, so you can have it equal and have it balanced, where persons don't feel, the other party don't feel less than the other party, right? So what we normally recommend, 50 guests. So I'll in charge of 25, and the other party will be in charge of another 25, right? What we do is to put her name at the top. For example, I'll say Tashana, and then both my parents, mommy and daddy, is alive, so I'm going to put mommy and daddy, right? What if mommy and daddy they are separated and they are with other partners? If you want to add those persons, so you'd have them going down, so mommy and daddy plus 1, or mommy and daddy plus 2, and going down the list, right? So when you have that, or what we normally recommend, parents, you normally said give the parents 2 to 3 invites, so they would have mommy plus 3 and daddy plus 3. So in that sense, they would be able to invite 2 or 3 of their friends or colleagues, or sometimes they want to invite somebody from church, or somebody they've been friend with over a long period of time. So we normally recommend for you to give, based on the number, to give them 2 mommy plus 2, daddy plus 2, right? And you would include that in your numbers as well. What we normally recommend for you to do, don't just choose anybody like that. Have reasons behind your guest, right? Because different persons, you have different persons as friends. You have this cousin that you're not going to choose somebody who you haven't spoke with in a long period of time, or for the past 3 years, and that person haven't in dialogue and stuff like that, right? Dialogued, sorry, right? So you'll choose person that you communicate a lot, you're close and stuff like that, so you can have a better flow wedding, right? So you have to decide on your numbers. Decide on the numbers before, and then after deciding on the numbers, you have to be strict with your numbers, based on the venue, based on your budget. Because persons just say, oh, we're going to do 80 people. Yes, because what, you have a big family, but would you be able to cater for the 80 people? You have other expenses, and bear in mind that you have to put a miscellaneous as well, unforeseen things that might happen, even things that you never budget in for. So you have to be careful when you're choosing the numbers and who are the persons that you're choosing to be a part of your event, right? Are there any questions? You can put your questions so I can answer while I go along. Alright, as I said, we're going to do a quick one tonight. Yes, so we normally said to tighten it down on that. Also have rules, cutting rules, and rules to say no last minute, because a lot of persons last minute 3, 4, 5, and that pushing up the numbers. As I often said, wedding is not something that decrease. Wedding is something that increase, because this last minute, avoid all the last minute persons. Last minute add-ons are it when you check the bill, it is very expensive, because you're going to add 5 people that you never budget for, right? Yes, the miscellaneous might be there, but is the miscellaneous enough? Is the miscellaneous enough to cover for what the 5 person, the additional persons? You might have other additional stuff that might happen, so you have to be careful and tighten down on that. When you're doing a guest list, be realistic. Don't choose a number that not within your budget, or you go and do your invitations and after which you can't be able to stand the expenses. So be realistic and be honest doing your guest list. What you can say to families and friends is that, oh, I am getting married, but it's not anything that is very big, it's just a small wedding, but I'm just saying it to you. But you don't have to invite the person. So if everybody won't be able to attend your wedding, that is what persons don't understand, is that everybody is going to be able to attend your wedding. Wedding is something that some might be able to attend and some might not, based on expenses, based on the availability, based on a lot of different things. So what you can do is to say to them, we're planning to get married in this month, and it's nothing that is really, but we just want to say something to you out of common courtesy, to say that yes, what you can do is to maybe your wedding cake, if you can give them a piece afterwards, that would be lovely, but you wouldn't be able to cater to everybody at the same time. Are you hearing me? Let me know if you're hearing me. All right, so you have to be realistic, you have to be strict with your wedding list, because bear in mind that from you got engaged, you are aware of the guests that you want to be at your wedding. Persons look at persons who, when you invite, you'll be able to get gifts, or a person who would be able to assist, because thank you, my darling. So people do their guest list based on different reasons. So you would have to be honest to yourself and be truthful, know the type of what is it, because we have persons, for example, we had an event before, and the person, the couple was saying that based on the gift that we want is power tools. You have to know what type of guest to invite to your wedding, to give you power tools. Some people would want to just go and buy a blender, a iron, some little basic appliances, but other person would want to get different things. So you would have to be honest, realistic, and be precise to who to attend, or who should be on your guest list, right? So please bear that in mind. All right, so what we normally recommend as well, make a list and make a B list. So you'd have two lists, so A and B. So when you have those two lists now, you can be able to say, okay, A list, this is the list of person that is on this list, and B list, this is the list of person that is on this list, right? A list have the most important person, and B list might have the person who you really want to be at the wedding, but is it that they would be able to, right? So you do that, and in that sense, that's where your RSVP comes in place. So you'd let them know that, listen, me, we're working where our RSVP comes in place, because you would have to say to us that, yes, I will be able to attend the event and stuff like that. You have to let them know your rules and regulation regarding your guest list, right? It's your day, and it's you are the one that is being in charge, right? So it's based on what you have put out, that is what you're going to get. All right, not at all times, but most of the time. All right. Another thing with guest list, don't let the parents bear you down on the guest list, whether it's the female mommy or daddy, or whether it's the male. Don't let your in-laws or your parents bear you down on a guest list, because they at times they want to take it over, and by the time they take it over, your friends from primary school or high school, you can't include who is it that you'd want to be on their list. So what you normally do is to give them, as I stated earlier on, give them two based on the amount of persons. Because if it's over 50 people, right, you can say, all right, mommy, I give you three invites. Daddy, I give you three. If both parties are alive, so 3 and 3, that would be 6. That would be 12 persons, right? That they would be able to take. Sometimes they would know the same people, so that would be a little bit less, or they would say, we don't work with 5 or stuff like that, right? But give them a few invites, but don't give them the entire thing to take control, because if you give mommy and daddy, everybody from church going to come, everybody from back then, you are the one getting married, you are the one that is in charge and have the say to say this and to say that. As I said, put your rules and regulation in place so they can be aware. They would have to appreciate that, and to ensure that, and to understand that it's your day and it's what you want. All right, so bear those points in mind. All right, so you decide on the amount of person before, so you can know how to crunch your numbers, how to do your budgeting and stuff like that. Because viewing the venue and stuff, like getting information from the venue, you would be aware of the cost and stuff. So viewing the venue would determine the amount of people you would want to have at the event. Because viewing the venue, you'd know the cost per person, what is it that they provide, and you have other expenses You have your photographer, you have your cake, you have your floral, and you have many different little things, right? Because now you want to have your welcome signs, you want to have your props, you want to have a little photo booth or a photo area, your cocktails. So you have to bear those things in mind when you're doing your guest list. All right. If there's any question, you can ask. All right. I'm open for question, right? As I said, the other point that we will discuss tonight is choosing a professional photographer. Choosing a professional photographer, it boils down to a lot of things. What I normally recommend our clients is to view their profiles. Consider who is it that you'd want to use. For example, you see different photographer popping up here and popping up there. You view the profiles, get recommendations. You can ask persons. You don't just ask, do you know any nice photographer? Yes, you have somebody in mind, but you still ask to hear what somebody have to say about that person or that photographer, right? So you get some recommendations regarding photographers, right? And when you view the profile, you would be able to say, whether you like what they do or you don't like what they do and stuff. You can also check out their photography style, because you have some photographer do some stuff and there's no logic behind it, right? Because you would have some photographer, for example, it's on the day of your event, but there is somewhere on the property that might have a ladder or something. They tell you to go, but there's no, you're not seeing the logic behind it to say why this photo, why this photo, so you would have to find out their styles and also ask them a lot of questions. You, the individual, should have a list of photos, must done photos that you'd want to have. So for example, you'd state getting ready, makeup, hairstyle, for the groom, putting on his his suspender, doing his bow tie, his shoes. So those you list down you put down a list of things that you'd want from them. You can ask them what are the 10 must done photo that they have, so you can know if that is a person that you'd want to work with. Based on what they give you and based on what you want, you'd know whether or not they are the person that you can work with, right? All right, so we also said focus on the question that the photographer asks you, right? Because they would ask many different questions, because they're doing their job and they want to have they want to be comfortable working with you as well, just as how you'd want to be comfortable working with them. So they will ask you questions, and based on your reply they will say, okay, then this person, they will be able to analyze the type of personality or the type of person you are, right? So focus on the question that they would ask. All right, so you select the photographer with experience. Persons, you're not going to do a photographer with after searching their page, you realize is a lot of parties. You want to do photographers that is more specialized in weddings, photographer that is professional. You don't want to have this because they are affordable, or they are least expensive than others. You'd want to use them. I understand that we're working with a budget, but you have to be careful. At the end of the wedding, after the wedding, the photographer is what is going to give you the memories, right? So that is very big and very important, because having your photos and looking at your photos, that's where you're going to see a lot of things that, oh, this will happen, I never know. That's when you're going to realize, because at the day of your wedding, a lot of things you're not going to see. You're blind to a lot of things. Persons might thought that you saw what happened. No, is the photograph said to you that, oh, she and she was sitting beside each other, or this and that. Because at the day of the event, you don't have that time to sit down and looking what is going. You won't be able to take note of everybody that is there, right? So once you get that person who is professional and the style is wedding style experience, then you have nothing to worry about where it is concerned of photography. You have some of the photographers who, when they're editing out the photos, you have to be careful So when you check the profile, you would see if the editing, because sometimes they edit, so tell them edit out all the crown off of the bride head. So you have to be careful, right? When you're choosing a photographer. So looking through the profile, getting recommendation, those are very important, right? You're going to compare cost, yes, but quality. You have to be real, be realistic when you're doing this thing. Because you'd have somebody who said they would give it a service for $5, and the next one would give it for $50. But what is the difference, right? The quality, the experience, the when they edit the photo, it is different than how that person would just, sometimes the cheap one or the more affordable one, it took a longer time for you to get the photos. Or when they get the photos, they say, but the makeup, him couldn't fix it so the makeup look a little bit better. Or he couldn't have said to me to fix my head a little, normally they said to move your shoulder or pull the shoulder there and, fix the head. Different person, different personality, different service, and you want to pay for something that you're going to be comfortable doing or comfortable looking at after. Because if you get some photographer that is very crappy, it's very rare going to look at those photos. Very, very rare. I have been married for 6 years now, and actually every other day, sometimes I just say, even when I'm going to do a decor or something, sometimes I just sit down and scroll through the album just to see, how this was done, how that was done, and the look of this, or based on something that you have saw somebody else. So you look to see, So the photographer is very important. They play a very important role. And yeah, compare prices based on your budget, but choose wise. Don't choose because they're very affordable and you want to have a photographer. No. No. You're going to choose a person because they're experienced, because that is their specialty. Because some people specialize in baby shower. Some people specialize in maternity shoot. So you're not going to get the shoot that you want to get from a maternity photographer to a wedding. But you have some people who is just wedding. They specialize in wedding. They know what to expect, what to ask for, and stuff like that. So you have to be careful when you're doing that. Alright? And there's no problem of negotiating. You see the person that you're interested in, but the price is whatever. Just let them know based on your budget and what is it, how best they can work with you. Alright? Because you're not going to tell them this is what, for example, you have $20, but the cost was $50 or $45, right? You're not going to tell them to give you their service for the $20, but what would I be able to get for the $20? And how, because this is what I would want, but how much can this allow me to get, right? So you negotiate and you ensure that you get the best value for your for service, right? Because end of the day, it is going to be an advertising material for them nevertheless, but yet still they are going to provide you with a service. So the labor and the time that they have spent, right? Because it takes a lot of time on the day of the event, a lot of to and from, back and forth, and based on the location, and also afterwards I have to edit the photos for you to get them on a timely manner and stuff like that, right? So you need to have an interview with the photographer, after which you decide who is it that you're going to work with. You have an interview with them, you sit down and they would ask you questions, and you yourself should also have your questions to ask them, right? Because based on what is it that you'd want and how you'd want it, you explain all of that to them. There's no hard and fast in doing that, right? And they are sure they would be willing to work with you based on when you do a negotiate. They would say, all right, this is what you have, but this is what we can do for that. If you want to add this to it, that's their job, right? So you just have to appreciate what they do and their service and the fee that they cost, right? Because it's not, I know that wedding photography is very expensive. Why? It take a lot of editing, and it take a lot of time. You spend a longer time than you'll do anything else. So what you do, I in your professional photographer, sit down, have your meetings, go through their profiles, negotiate. You can also get recommendations from persons, so you can know if you're on the right track. Are there any questions? You can be on the right track. And as we discussed earlier on, your guest list is something that is important. You have to be realistic, because the guest list is a part, it's where the venue, because the venue, most of the venue is per person, the meal, right? And the meal is very expensive, and you want to have like cocktails and this and that. So you have to be sure when you're doing a guest list, and you have to be realistic when you're doing costing, when it comes to the photographer, and also when it comes to your guest, right? Are there any other questions? Are there any questions? Is everybody okay? I'm open, I'm open to hear what you have to say, right? Alright, so I just run through what I just said, because there's no questions. If there's question, what you can do is to send us a message. Send us a message, DM us, or you can email us at ambianceboutique7@gmail.com, or you can send us a DM. You can reach out to us, and our contact number is 320-8508. Right? We're also on Facebook, so you can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. You can also follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we're on TikTok as well. Alright, so are there any questions regarding wedding? You don't have to be tonight's topic. We can discuss anything pertaining to your wedding. If you want to ask, if you have a concern or questions, just feel free. Seems like everybody is good. I'm not hearing anything from nobody at all. Are you hearing me? Because I'm not seeing any question, nothing at all. Are we okay? Alright, so what I'm going to do, it is going to be on, so if there's any question, you can ask, and we'll definitely reach out to you regarding your questions. It seems like there's nobody else want to ask any questions. Alright, so as I said, tonight's topic was drafting your guest list, and also choosing your professional photographer. Tabas, you have a question? Or you're okay? Everybody okay? Alright, it was my pleasure being here with you tonight. I do thank you for taking the time out to join our live. If there's any questions or concerns, just feel free to give us send us some message. You can DM us on Instagram. You can send us an email at ambianceboutique7@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us by calling us 320-8508. Alright, so if there's any questions or any concerns regarding wedding, your upcoming wedding, you can reach out to us. Alright, thank you again. It was my pleasure being here with you tonight, and we are available if there's any questions or concerns. Alright, thank you again, and it was my pleasure, and have a good night.